a starter on 29 other teams probably. And in this situation, backing up Kevin. Losing someone like Tim Duncan from a leadership standpoint hurts them. Maybe not in the record, but in the playoffs it will, because you lost someone like that. Again, having Ginobili still good, having Parker still good, but Duncan was the guy. He was the guy that got given the reins from David Robinson to him. Now they're trying to give it to Leonard, see if he can step up in that situation. But losing Duncan is huge in that. And then going through, like, I can't take the Clippers seriously. I just can't. I wish I could. I really do, but I just can't. It's really, it's a laughing stock sometimes because they're so good in the regular season. They win 50 to 60 games. Everyone's like, oh, the Clippers, dark horse, no. They can't do it in the playoffs. Whether it's Chris Paul.
Last year was injuries that got.
Well,
You can
there's
make the
always
argument
something.
that was their
That's
fault,
the point with this. There's always something with the Clippers, and it's unfortunate, but it's true. They have some sort of hindrance. I don't take Oklahoma City seriously. As great a player as Russell Westbrook is,
I mean, OKC off to a 6-1 start.
Again, this is 7 games into an 82-game season, and then we're talking about playoffs after that. Okay, everyone's good. Charlotte's 5-1. You mean to tell me Charlotte is really going to be the 2 seed when this season's over? With all the talent that the East has accumulated?
Crazier things have happened. Trump is president now.
There's, of course, this is crazy to begin with. Atlanta's the 3 seed right now. I don't think Atlanta's that good. I think that Dwight Howard, again, is fool's gold too with it. It's a good start to a season because it's fresh, it's new. When these teams get further on, the teams that are better, the teams that are more cohesive, like the Bostons, like even sometimes the Chicagos, they will advance further up, and these teams will fall further back down. And we're going to see that with Cleveland, and we're going to see it with Golden State. Golden State's what, 5-2, I believe, right now. And that's a big fall off. They lost 2 games already. They don't have to win 74 games this year to be as dominant as they were last year. And the Cavaliers don't have to win 70 games to prove it. So they're both going to be probably the 1 seeds. They're both probably going to, honestly, roll through the playoffs because of the talent they have, the experience they have, and because both teams want each other again. Both teams want to face each other again in the finals. They want Durant and LeBron. They want Curry and Irving. They want Love and Draymond Green. They want these matchups. The NBA wants it. The players want it. And when you have those kind of superpowers going back and forth, it's kind of inevitable.
One word answer, guys. Are we going to see a rematch of the Cavs versus Warriors come June? Kyle?
Yes.
Triple G?
No.
No. Yes.
Half is what we got there, but when we get back, we will be talking some NFL football alongside some college football. So stay tuned to OMS Sports Roundtable.
All right, quick question. So how's this working? Is that bing supposed to be the timer? Or was that just a random thing?
No, that was a random thing. I'm going to the next segment due to time. Because I was thinking about that when we started, so I'm going to do it.
Want me to build the air horn?
Because what I'm going to do is probably 40, just a little bit, 45 seconds.
Okay.
So I'm going to do 45 seconds. And so that's when I'll cut you guys off, and then that's probably when the mute will come in. But you guys try to finish your thoughts, but kind of keep an internal clock to get, because I was thinking about that when we were doing it.
I'll start talking on mine too.
And we're obviously, going in order. Is there a point once we all go where someone's saying something we can jump in and ask?
Yeah, you guys can,
Okay.
that's the whole point. You guys, if he says something you don't disagree, you can come in and say something.
Well, but the first time around, I don't want to cut somebody off before they can even make their
Right,
point,
you're right, and then do like a final thoughts type thing. I'll do it, I'll say like final thoughts on the subject,
Gotcha.
and then you guys can kind of go back
Have
to
that
that.
banner.
You guys already know we are recording live, so.
I've been a good boy so far.
I know you have.
Yeah, so far.
Just reminding you.
Kyle, why aren't you talking about the Tristan Thompson Zaza Pachulia matchup? I think that one's gonna be exciting.
Ready to go back?
Yep.
You're too much.
Mute me.
Mute me.
Mute me.
Yeah, because we were saying talking, and I heard a little beep, but I kept talking. Like,
Yeah,
was that a deal or something?
Yeah, Bob is not paying attention, he's the host. I just try to throw it back to you and look. You big dummy.
Yeah, I was trying to figure something out.
That's what I was saying about it.
And we are back here at the OMS Roundtable. I'm Chris Boffman. Let's get right into it.
You're darn tootin' you are.
So this NFL season, we've had a bunch of new coaches come in. Chip Kelly going over to San Francisco, try to revitalize those 49ers. Hugh Jackson going to the Cleveland Browns, and we see how those two are going. 49ers are 1-7, the Browns are great 0-8.
Yeesh.
Yeah. but who is more likely to return for a second season? Chip Kelly or Hugh Jackson? Dante, start this one off for us.
I would have to say Hugh Jackson, and it's not as much about him, but it's about the franchise. When you look at the turnover they've had lately, and when you look at the new analytical system that they brought in, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on the owner, Jimmy Haslam, to not get rid of this coach after this year. And the way that I look at it is when you hire someone, if you think that they're the right person, there may be some bumps in the road, and I know a potential 0-16 could be a huge blemish. But with that being said, you still have to give that process, that plan time to actually work. And no one expected them to win 15 games this year. All right, you might expect 2 games, but still, if you believe in the process, I think you have to stay with it.
All right, BSP.
Honestly, I don't think either of them are going anywhere necessarily this year, but I'd have to say Hugh Jackson has a better chance of coming back. I think the biggest threat right now of Chip Kelly leaving the Niners is not necessarily the fact that he's doing so badly that he might get fired, but even though he's denied the rumors, the Oregon job is back there on the table for him. And that's where he succeeded the most. I think that's where Chip Kelly obviously succeeded very well there in Oregon. I think that's where he was the happiest, and that's where he was able to put the system that he wants into place. I mean, he has his running quarterback now in Colin Kaepernick, but he's still not really able to do anything there in San Francisco. He wasn't able to do it in Philadelphia either. So, I honestly think he'll be going back to the college game. And then, just aside from that, he's been here for a while now. This is Hugh Jackson's first year as a head coach. He walked in with basically nothing. And Chip Kelly, this is his second go-around now. It's his second team, and he's still not being able to put up results.
It's
And
Hugh's
I think
second
it's
team.
gonna-
It's Hugh Jackson's second
Yeah.
season as a head coach. Remember, he told you I was head coach for
Oh,
Oakland
correct.
8-8, and he had a little stint there. But, Chris, to your point, I mean, I can't tell you. I feel like both of them are kind of in the hot seat a little bit. I think the pressure Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Browns right now, feels because of this bad is overwhelming. And he's getting a lot of pressure from not only us, but ESPN sports analysts, the 850 guys, the 1100 guys that go off, the 92.3 guys. Everyone's on his coattails right now telling him, hey, talking to him, stop, you need to figure this out. Give us some sort of indication you knew this was coming, so, because he's been quiet. And that's Jimmy Haslam's forte. With the whole Chip Kelly thing, it's kind of the same situation. You're not really sure what you're gonna get with him either. There's a lot of college jobs that are opening up. Talk about LSU, talk about Oregon, I mean, he's got a rough situation to deal with. If I had a guessing man, I'd say Jackson will be back, and Chip Kelly might be one of his options to coach.
Moving on to Triple G.
They're both obviously going to be back for a second season. I think that's kind of obvious. I don't think that they're both going to leave after one season. No matter how bad both of them do. It doesn't matter if the Niners go 1-15 and the Browns go 1-16. Because I think, I would hope that the general managers are smart enough to understand that this isn't completely on the coach in both situations, in my opinion, because there's a lack of talent in San Francisco and in Cleveland that you just can't make up with. I mean, Hugh Jackson has coached the Browns to, almost winning and being in pretty much every game that they've been in besides the Cowboys game.
Right, that's where I'm going to cut you off on that. But like you guys were saying, is there any coach that you could replace with Hugh Jackson and they would have won a football game with this Cleveland Browns team that they have on the field right now? Because like Triple G said, it's more of a systematic problem than it is a coaching problem. Because you can look back, you can put Landry in to coach these Cleveland Browns who haven't won a game yet. What was he going to do, win one game for him, 2 games?
I mean, if you still have the same general manager and you still have the same owner and they still have their same plan, I think that for the most part you're going to have the same results because you need players. I mean, yes, a coach can coach players up, but I think he's done that. When you look at the games early on that they've been competitive in, and that was when they were using their 3rd or 4th quarterback for the 3rd or 4th straight week, they were still being competitive. Now I think it's getting to the point, especially with Dallas coming in, when you struggle to stop the run and that is their strength. I mean, that was just a field day. I mean, so there was really nothing they could do there.
And as Cleveland fans, I'm not quite sure what they were expecting this year coming forward. I mean, you dumped all your players out. We talked about it earlier. You had Alex Mack, Mitchell Schwartz. Your anchors on your line, gone.
Wide receivers.
And wide receivers. You see how big of Alex Mack is their addition for the Falcons. how well they're doing now.
Well, think about this, Chris. Again, the receiving core for this team was supposed to be Corey Coleman, Terrell Pryor, Josh Gordon, Gary Barnage. Bunch of guys, Coleman being probably your slot guy, having two big wideouts on the outside you could use. And this team was supposed to be stacked. Now with Gordon, who is, God knows where he is. I don't even know anymore.
But I don't know, did they really count on Gordon?
Well,
Like,
maybe
count
not, but
on
I
him?
think
I mean, they didn't
the
go
signs
to
were
count
pointing, Dante, to him possibly getting back on the field because he had been clean for a while. But of course, obviously, another slip up, so we think. I mean, it's really unfortunate. But then also not having Coleman for 4 to 6 weeks with that injury he suffered. I mean, Pryor kind of coming out of the wings out of nowhere.
If you're the
in this
head
game.
coach, Kyle, if you're the head coach and there's been an issue that there have been with Josh Gordon, yes, he's still on your team and he's going through the steps, but, you know, are you really counting on him? Yeah,
I mean, you had
you
no
hope
choice.
that he could come back.
He had no choice.
But that's
Who else
part
is
of the
gonna count
reason, but I think if you're counting on him, you don't draft 4
All
wide
right, we
receivers.
got to cut you guys off. We're gonna get to the next, but that's a great discussion to have because what we're like with the Browns expecting. What are you expecting to come out of it? Come out of that offense? Holy cow! If you could have the Gordon and the Pryor and the Coleman, it could have been an explosive offense.
That was
a dream.
all.
And
It was a
being,
dream.
and well, because then RG, you got to think RG3. What would have happened if he'd have stayed healthy? Or not Derek Anderson. I was going Derek Anderson, but holy cow, Josh McCown.
If you
stayed
had a
healthy.
quarterback that can throw the ball
But
downfield.
the fact that Kessler is what he's doing, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, he's been very good, and that shows what Hugh Jackson can do with quarterbacks. But we'll see in the future ahead. We'll talk a little bit more in that later. But going forward, we talk about rookie coaches, first, second-year coaches. I'm going to move into the quarterbacks. In your guys' opinion, who's having the better year, Derek Carr or Dak Prescott? Records aside, stats aside, who's managing the team better right now? We're not starting with you, Kyle. You stay patient. BSP, you go.
This isn't a
Great
question.
moderator, Chris.
This is not a question. I know Dak Prescott's effective, and that team has what, 1 loss so far?
7-1.
7-1. Okay. So yeah, you look at the record, and Dak Prescott's got the better record. But you look at the numbers; it's not even close. Derek Carr is tearing this league up right now. He's in contention for MVP. He's getting serious talks for that. You don't hear anyone saying that Dak Prescott is going to make a push in MVP voting. Again, Dak, all respect to him. He's probably the best rookie quarterback this year because he's doing amazing things with this Cowboys team that people didn't really think was going to do a whole lot, especially without Dez Bryant. But if you're looking at a performance standpoint and from a numbers and stats standpoint, there's no way you cannot go with Carr in that situation.
I'm going to bring this stat up for you real quick. Derek Carr, 2,500 passing yards, 17 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Dak Prescott, 2,000 yards, 12 TDs to 2 interceptions. So when you go stat-wise, it's not really blowing him away in that aspect because then you got to ask yourself.
Well, no, it's still an obvious advantage though for Carr.
But then you got to go who are the weapons that Carr has to throw at wide receiver compared to Dak, who's he throwing to, and that aspect as well. I mean, Dez Bryant's been injured, then Cole Beasley. You know, Cole Beasley compared to Amari Cooper or Michael Crabtree, so you kind of go back and forth. But Kyle, in your opinion, who do you think is, the better?
I mean,
right now?
again, this could be me because I have multiple sources inside ESPN and teams that have been telling me that Prescott's a very serious candidate, as well as Ezekiel Elliott for MVP in this league because of their performances they've done. Now, granted, Dallas' offensive line may be one of the best of all time. We're seeing that every week. And 2 rookies being that successful, it's not just on their skill level alone. They have a great line. And the receivers, I mean, again, Jason Witten is one of the staples of this league at tight end. He is a bona fide star at that position, despite being older, despite being one of the older statesmen on that team. He still makes an impact every game, whether it's even catching passes or just getting his team ready, getting his rookie guys on his offensive side of the ball ready. Derek Carr, we kind of saw this coming a little bit. Last year had a pretty good year too. He's been on the upswing. Oakland's kind of surprising, turning a few heads too, maybe a little bit a year sooner than I would have thought. But again, sources, it's between those 3 guys from what I tell. But receiver-wise, Oakland, Derek Carr has a little bit more of an advantage. But I mean, it's really hard not to give it to a team in Dallas who does not have their starting quarterback and still doing that well. So I mean, Prescott's got to be in the running.
I'm going to Triple G.
I would have to say that Derek Carr is having a better year. Dallas has a better offensive line, and it's always, I mean, I know Latavius Murray had a great game against Denver, but he really hasn't had the best of years up to this point for him. So he's really doing it without a running game. I understand he might have a little bit better receivers, but I don't think by that much because when you factor in a Jason Witten, even a Terrence Williams, who I think has had a very underrated, great year for, up to his standards. Cole Beasley's been producing. And then you have the luxury of giving the ball to a workhorse like Ezekiel Elliott 25 times. You don't have that, in my opinion, in Oakland. So I say Derek Carr's having a better year, especially when he beat the defending Super Bowl champs.
All right, Dante, finish us off here.
Bigger car, and it is close, but I think what hurts Dak is having Elliott back there. You know, if he didn't have that stud running back doing the things that he's doing, which obviously makes the load a lot easier for him, I think that, you know, that he would be the winner. But when you look at Carr, what he's doing without the same type of impact in the running game, their offensive lines, believe it or not, are close. I mean, Oakland has a very good offensive line. If Dallas is one, then the Raiders was top 3. So that's not like, it's not like he's playing behind the Browns' offensive line. But when you look at the complete team, I think that Dallas probably has a better defense than Oakland does. And for Oakland to still be getting the wins that they're getting, with him pretty much dragging his team, the comeback wins that he's had this year, you know, I mean, the way that they played